Hello, welcome to our channel. Today's story brings us to Macomb Orchard Trail in Armada, Michigan.
It was here where on July 24th, 2014, a brutal murder took place. This was of a 14-year-old girl who was simply walking her dog along this trail right here. Now, viewer discretion is advised for this story, and we cordially invite you to come along.
Come along.
This is the story of the tragic death of April Millsap. April lived with her mom and stepfather very near the entrance to the trail. This is the entrance to the trail right down there. It's also where her memorial garden is. We'll show you that here in just a little bit. So it was very normal for her to come out here, get on this trail with one of her two dogs. She was apparently very good at walking her dogs on a regular basis. On this day, she had her dog named Penny with her as she set out on this trail. She had her cell phone with her as well. Now, on the cell phone, she had an app. This was a fitness app. So that way she could kind of see how far she was walking, running and whatnot every day, keeping up with her activities. So she's on that phone, she's got the dog, and she sets out on this trail. Just a normal afternoon day, early evening, I think around 5:30 is when she headed out here onto the trail with Penny. It was a pretty warm day here in Michigan. I guess kind of abnormally warm, even for that kind of time of year. Right now, we are in late July here, 2022 in Michigan, and it's been downright chilly at nighttime the past couple of nights. So even in July, it can be pretty chilly here, but this day was relatively warm. This had been a pretty nice, although warm day. So as she set through the trail, there were some people who saw her and saw her dog. There was a woman with her daughter. They were out here on bicycles. Apparently they, on a regular basis, get on this trail and ride their bicycles together to get exercise. They were out here and they saw a guy on a dirt bike. And what they thought was a little strange about this was this guy had a lot of clothing on for this warm day. He had, of course, his helmet, but he also had some kind of jacket, maybe a hoodie, long pants. Just looked like he'd be way too hot to be out here. On top of that, motorcycles, dirt bikes, all those sorts of things are not allowed on this trail. This is a walking trail, and it's just not safe for walkers to have somebody flying by on a dirt bike or a motorcycle. So they're not allowed. So they thought that was a little strange. On top of that, they just thought the guy seemed a little strange. He wasn't right there with April. Apparently he was somewhere behind her. They passed him, passed her, said hello, said something about her dog. She seemed fine. She was looking at her phone, they said when they came up to her. Now they went on down further and eventually turned back around. As they were coming back through, they noticed that the motorcycle, the dirt bike, was parked somewhere off to the side of the road. The mother was ahead of the daughter a little bit. The daughter slowed down, kind of looked off, and she says she saw this guy, the motorcycle driver, the dirt bike driver, off somewhere in the wooded area, and that he was looking suspicious, looking like maybe he did something he wasn't supposed to do. To draw her attention, she looked at him. She thought she heard the dog off in the distance as well. Then she began to pedal faster to catch up with her mother. When she got up to her mother made the point that she thought this was very suspicious. The girl thought this is very suspicious, but this girl did not want to turn around. The mother did. The mother said, let's flip back around. Let's go see what's going on back there with this guy. She said, no, I don't want anything to do with this guy. There's no way you're getting me to go back there. So they left. Now, you can't really blame her. Now, sure, who knows what would have happened if they would have gone back? Would they have been hurt or killed as well? Would they have stopped the murder? We just don't know. Murder might have already happened at this point. But you can't really blame them because this trail is lonely. I mean, look. Haven't seen anybody at all yet. It's a quiet, lonely trail. kind of heads out into the middle of nowhere, nothing around, no one to hear your screams out here. It would be scary when you see somebody suspicious to go back around and deal with them. So they chose not to. Now, some other people also witnessed this guy on this dirt bike. After the murder, they came forward as well, and the police kind of started putting a picture together of a guy on a dirt bike on this trail, acting a little bit strange. Now, apparently, he eventually caught up to April. He had been riding around her. Now, this dirt bike was not one of these real loud ones. It was a softer engine, almost like a moped engine is what I've heard it described as. So he was able to kind of creep around her without her noticing. But at some point, she did notice him. Now, perhaps he came up to her, tried to talk to her, tried to make an advance on her, and she apparently turned him down. But she did at that point text her boyfriend and told him that something along the lines of, "I think I was almost just kidnapped." Now, the boyfriend sees this and thinks she's joking around, although he did try to call her. She didn't answer, but he didn't do much about it. He figured she was just goofing around, that she wasn't really almost just kidnapped. But that was what he did. And so, of course, police, after the murder, looked into this boyfriend. They said, "What's up with this guy?" But they were able to prove that he was at a McDonald's nearby, and they pulled up security surveillance from that McDonald's and proved that that's where he was when the murder took place with a friend of his. Now, they had been arguing a little bit. Apparently, he had got caught with something on his phone that she didn't like. He said it was a misunderstanding. She was angry at him, and they hadn't really spoken in a pleasant way very much for the previous 4 or 5 days. So there was a suspicion with him, but once they got that surveillance from the McDonald's, he was ruled out. Also, her mother and stepfather were both quickly ruled out. Now, at some point, Penny came running out of the woods, was barking, whimpering, just acting crazy, like something was wrong, and went running back into the woods. At this point, there was a couple out here. They saw the dog. They followed the dog into the woods, and they see April beaten and bloodied off to the side. At that point, they made a call to 911.
911? Yeah, I'm fairly certain we just found a body along the Macomb Orchard Trail.
Is it a male or a female?
Female.
About how old do you think she is?
I didn't get that close.
Okay, and you don't believe she's breathing?
I don't believe so, no.
As police looked into April's phone records, they did, of course, see that text to her boyfriend. Just avoided being kidnapped. They also noticed that her boyfriend had deleted multiple texts, apparently something like 4 texts between the two of them. Of course, he had admitted they were fighting. Apparently, they had something to do with that. And, of course, he was ruled out anyway later, but he was trying to make himself not look too suspicious. I mean, you can imagine, you're the boyfriend, you've been fighting, you've written some mean text back and forth, and she's murdered, and you started thinking, man, they're going to be looking at me. And so that's what he was thinking. Now, what else they found on her phone were a couple phone calls. Now, from any records we've looked into and things we've read about, it was never confirmed who this was that she attempted to call shortly before the murder. Apparently, she called the same number twice. It was a Flint number, and police have never been able to confirm, or at least not according to what we've been able to find, they've never been able to confirm who she was trying to call at that point in time. And they brought in members of various different police forces. More than 100 different police officers came in immediately to start investigating this case. After ruling out the boyfriend, after ruling out the mom and the stepfather, they began to look into this guy on this dirt bike. That's where they turned their attention to. Now, a police officer or an investigator was driving around town shortly after the murder and saw a dirt bike that matched the description of this dirt bike outside of a house here in town. He took a picture of it. He brought it back to the police station. Now, when they went back over there to check out this dirt bike, it was gone. However, there was someone in the house, a person who lived there, and he told them who owned this dirt bike, and that was a man by the name of James Vancalis.
The police were able to track the phone from a fitness app from the murder location to this gas station.
This is a Marathon gas station in downtown Armada. Now, when they came by here, they pulled up this video surveillance showing these pumps out here, and they did indeed see Vancalis on his dirt bike filling up with gasoline at one of these pumps. In interviews with the police, Vancalis admitted he was at this Marathon location, but he claims he came into town. He was trying to locate his brother. His brother lived near here. He stopped here simply to get some gas. He admits, hey, I was there and I was getting gas. He also says he hung out with his brother some. He went to a Tim Hortons nearby and did various other things here in Armada around the time of the murder. So he was apparently very friendly. First couple interviews with police as well, admitting to all these things and being nice. Now, when police went back, they wanted to get a written statement from Vancalis. That's when he became not so friendly anymore. He began yelling at the detective, screaming at him. He was getting very angry. He told him, look, you're pulling up other people's cell phones. You're looking into all kinds of things. You're on a witch hunt against me. And he refused to do a written statement at that point in time. When police saw him on that video footage at the marathon, things started to come together for them to realize this guy is probably the one that killed this young girl. They began looking into his records, his computer records, and found out he'd done a lot of weird searches that had to do with older guys getting with younger girls and how to get a younger girl and how to get a girl to like you and these kinds of things. That was all leading up to the time of this murder. Vancalis was eventually found guilty of the murder of April Millsap.
We're at April Millsap Memorial Garden. The community came together and put this beautiful memorial garden together in memory of her.
Apparently it was opened back in 2016. It's obviously kept up with very well to this day. Let's take a look at April's garden. Big butterfly. I think she loved butterflies and flowers,
Which will attract butterflies.
This says 2015, so that might have been when it was actually open. Let's head in. Of course, she loved her dogs. You see a dog statue here. A bench with April Millsap Memorial Garden on it. And this bell here, which they say you can ring the bell. Her mom, as of a few years ago when I read a story about this, her mom lives near enough to actually hear this bell ring from her house.
So many beautiful flowers.
Over here, there's a picture of April. April Dawn Millsap Memorial Garden. A little hard to see with the rain today. Right in there. January 2nd, 2000, July 24th, 2014. And on the ground over here, you got the dog, the cat, and a girl with her dog by the bell.